All right there, everyone. Colin Kaepernick is now the face of the new Nike ad campaign. What it means and what you can do about it. That's what we'll be talking about on today's video. A huge welcome to our first-time viewers. We average about 10,000 new subscribers a month, so we certainly hope that you found here a new and welcoming home YouTube channel. I post videos twice a day analyzing current events in light of conservative trends so that you can personally and professionally flourish. And you can help us to keep that going in three ways. First, by clicking on that Patreon or PayPal link below with your recurring or one-time gift. Second, by taking advantage of our Book of the Month offer, as it's turning out to be. It's Classical versus Modern Education for only 99 cents at the link below. And third, by simply hitting that subscribe button and that bell. It's an absolute pleasure and privilege to have you as part of this channel. All right, so just when you thought the kickoff to the new NFL season, National Football League season, didn't need any more controversy, enter the Nike Corporation. Nike just announced that its Just Do It ad campaign will in fact feature the former NFL player and original anthem protester Colin Kaepernick. They're featuring the tagline with the campaign, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." Sacrificing everything, like he really sacrificed that NFL paycheck, right? That was paid for by the fans that he repeatedly insulted. We have a member over at our Turley Talks Facebook group that I think said it best. If Nike's interested in an athlete that sacrificed everything for what he believed, then they should be featuring a picture of Pat Tillman. Needless to say, many NFL fans are not sitting back and letting this one go. Special media is awash with pictures and videos of people burning their Nike shoe wear in their own forms of protest, right? In their own forms of taking Nike at its word. We stand here on our beliefs, even if it involves sacrificing Nike sneakers. Now, of course, this isn't the first time that corporations have done this. In fact, from the NFL itself onwards, it seems that corporate America almost has a love affair with politically correct social justice warriors. I don't know if you remember back when the North Carolina legislators were considering a bathroom bill that actually had the audacity to affirm that there really are only two genders. Nevertheless, you had corporations such as Apple and Starbucks and Kellogg's, PayPal, along with 100 other CEOs signing an open letter urging them to repeal what they call discriminatory and radical new anti-LGBT law, and they promised to boycott North Carolina. Now, it's fascinating. Now, companies are actually doing the boycotting, right? What's going on here? Why on earth are corporations like Nike siding with social justice political correctness? Why do they act as if they have a dog in these political fights? Now, of course, at one level, the answer is rather simple. It's because corporatists are cowards. They cower in the face of threats from these social justice warrior bullies. But I do believe there's something deeper going on here, that if we miss, then I think we end up, in turn, missing, I think, the key solution to all this. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, I'm sure you've guessed the answers to why they're doing this, right? As always, I think the key to understanding this corporate solidarity with politically correct social justice warriors is understanding the mass political and economic process known as globalization. In other words, if you don't understand globalization, you're not going to understand why these CEOs and corporations are doing what they're doing and why they're so enthusiastic about embracing all things liberal. Simply put, globalization is a vast interlocking mechanism of technology and telecommunications that creates a single worldwide economic and political system. That's globalization in a nutshell. It's a vast interlocking mechanism of technology and telecommunications that creates a single worldwide economic and political system. Now, what you have to understand about globalization, and we've talked about this on a number of occasions in our other videos on this channel, but what you have to understand is that globalization involves a key defining social dynamic known as disembedding. It's a fancy schmancy word, but it involves a rather simple concept, but that's important to get. Disembedding involves the propelling or the dislodging of social and economic life away from localized control and relocates in more transnational, transcultural processes. I like to use the local shopping mall as an example of this. So, of course, in one sense, your local mall is local in terms of its proximity to the shoppers. But if you think it through, notice that all the retail outlets that comprise the various stores in a mall, did you ever notice they're anything but local? I mean, this is what makes a mall the mall, right? All the shopping outlets in a mall are anything but local. They're national, international chains and brand names. This is especially the case with the latest releases of the movie theater, the offerings at the food court, right? If your mall has a movie theater, I can assure you that it is not showcasing local acting talent, that's for sure. This is what's called disembedding, right? From the ubiquity of the made in China imprints on our products and consumables to the mass influx of immigrant labor, both legal and illegal, the ever-increasing what they call Orlandoization of our urban and suburban landscapes by chains and franchises. Our lives are increasingly defined and interpreted by translocal economic and social processes. This is a hallmark. It's a defining characteristic of globalization. But what you got to get here, and this is key, what you have to get in all of this, it is not merely economic processes that are arrested and dislodged and separated from local control. Disembedding also involves localized customs, traditions, languages, religions. Whereas pre-modern societies are characterized generally by provincial beliefs and practices considered sacred and absolute, right, and traditional, globalized societies offer a range of consumer-based options that call into question the whole sanctity of local beliefs and practices, relativizing them to a veritable food court of many other credo alternatives. You see, in globalized societies, local customs and traditions can be easily exchanged. Indeed, you're encouraged to exchange them for wider translocal, transnational options and practices. And so what this disembedding of localized customs and beliefs does is it creates a new conception of the human person as fundamentally a consumer, a sovereign individual who exercises control over his or her own life circumstances. So just follow the logic here. Globalism disembeds, it dislodges or separates economy and culture from localized control, and in so doing it replaces the traditional conception of the individual, who's traditionally understood in relation to unchanging identity markers such as the sanctity of the family and community and culture and nation, all bound together by religion. Disembedding replaces that traditional conception of the individual with a new conception of the individual, which is fundamentally conceived as a consumer. And now as a consumer, now everything else is secondary to that. Everything else is now a matter of consumer-based choice. So now under the system of globalization, I'm free to choose not only my religion or my career or my spouse. Now I'm free to choose my culture, my causes, my gender, my sexuality, my family planning, and on and on and on. That's the globalist vision of the sovereign individual, the human person redefined fundamentally as a consumer. And here's the key. This is why Colin Kaepernick is celebrated by our corporate elite. He's celebrated by our corporate elite precisely because he is exercising publicly, in terms of his public protests, he is exercising publicly his sovereign individuality, and as such, he's showing to the world what it means to be redefined fundamentally as a consumer. You got to get that. Colin Kaepernick is celebrated because he exercises publicly his sovereign individuality, and that demonstrates to all what it means to be redefined fundamentally as a consumer. That is why corporate America loves Colin Kaepernick. So what do we do with all this? Well, more and more people are recognizing that there is power in their purses, and so they are increasingly engaged in what scholars call political consumerism. And that's where we actually are intentionally voting our political commitments. And this generally involves what are called boycotts and boycotts, okay? Boycotts and boycotts. Boycotts are obviously the intentional refusal to purchase from companies that offend our political values, while boycotts are intentional purchasing from companies that support our political values. This is the increasing partisan nature of our marketplace. Companies are more and more being divided up between liberal corporations, where globalism is a master, right? And conservative corporations, where globalism is more of a servant to custom, culture, and tradition, like we're seeing with Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby, Cracker Barrel, Carl's Jr., and Urban Outfitters. So here's a suggestion. Why don't you click on the link below and get yourself a pair of sneakers from New Balance, whose CEO contributed to the Trump campaign. They're currently on left-wing boycott lists, so let's go ahead and boycott from them. And by clicking on the affiliate link below, you're not only going to support both this channel and conservative causes and companies like that, but you get to stick it to those who don't, all the while getting yourself a nice pair of new sneakers. Welcome to the age of political consumerism. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Click on our Patreon and PayPal links below, where you can become a supporter of this channel and help us to continue to analyze current events in light of conservative trends so that you can personally and professionally flourish. God bless.